Well, is this the revolution you want? Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now, specifically with DOGE and the Department of Government Efficiency. What's happening there is truly a revolution. How will it all turn out? Well, probably not the way most of us would like it to. And I think that has profound implications in terms of setting the stage for the end times events that are about to play out in the world in the days, months, years ahead. So let's start with this right here. This is from NBC News. It says DOGE will use artificial intelligence to assess the responses of federal workers who were told to justify their jobs via email. It says responses to the Elon Musk directed email to government employees about what work they had accomplished in the last week are expected to be fed into artificial intelligence systems to determine whether those jobs are necessary, according to 3 sources with knowledge of the system. The information will go into a large language model, an advanced AI system that looks at huge amounts of text data to understand, generate, and process human language, sources said. The AI system will determine whether someone's work is mission critical or not. The U.S. Office of Personnel Management emails were sent to federal workers on Saturday, shortly, and this is from probably a couple of weeks ago at this point, shortly after Musk wrote in a post on X that all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. The OPM email did not mention the resignation threat, but said, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and carbon copy your manager. Please do not send any classified information, links, or attachments. Deadline is Monday, right before midnight. The reason the email requested no links or attachments was because of the plan to send the information to the AI system, the sources said. A request for comment from OPM as to whether humans will be involved in reviewing the responses was not answered immediately. Well, of course they're not going to. Can you imagine how many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of these government employees are there? To have actual people going over all these emails versus AI really doesn't make any sense. So of course they're using AI. Says the White House declined to comment, but in response to a tweet about the usage of large language models, Musk wrote on X that they were, quote, not needed here. And this is basically a check to see if the employee had a pulse and was capable of replying to an email. So again, no, they're definitely using some sort of AI, even if the AI is to simply check to whether or not a response was sent to the email. So, but that is not true. They're using AI. They have been using AI to uncover a whole web of corruption and money trails and things that in the past would have taken teams and teams of accountants years to figure out. They figured it out in 5-10 minutes probably with this AI. So I don't know why they're saying that it's not, but let's scroll down because, again, they bury things into these articles deep down inside. So it says, people have placed lawsuits against this, and it says some of the lawsuits have referenced allegations that DOGE is using artificial intelligence to analyze and process government data. The Washington Post reported in February that DOGE was using artificial intelligence to analyze spending at the Education Department, citing 2 people familiar with the project. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Monday touted Musk's work in remarks that seemed to confirm the AI reports. Quote, Elon has cracked the code. He is now inside the agencies. He's created these algorithms that are constantly crawling through the data. And as he told me in his office, the data doesn't lie. And I can tell you right now, that's not true, especially when you're talking about inefficient government that may have bad data. Look at all of the data that they put out. The economy's strong, and this is why, and stuff they just make up. Where they told us last year, oh, all these jobs were created, and then they go, well, 800,000 of those jobs really weren't created. And then they come out a couple of months later. Yeah, oh yeah, and another million of the jobs we said were created. Those weren't created either. So they were off by 1.8 million jobs, probably a whole lot more. So yeah, the data itself is what it is, but if the data's wrong, well, then the data lies, right? So he says, we're going to be able to get the information. We're going to be able to transform the way the federal government works at the end of this. And that's a very exciting prospect. It's truly a revolutionary moment for the nation. And again, I believe this is revolutionary. We're seeing a lot of corruption unraveling, a lot of inefficiencies exposed. The issue that I have with all of this is, A, we're pushing these advanced technologies into government like AI. What we should be doing is saying, this is ridiculous. Look at this corruption. Look at this inefficiency. We need to root out these agencies and eliminate them. We need smaller, limited government, because small, limited government doesn't trample on freedom and liberty like big government does. Instead, what's being pushed here is we're going to be faster, more efficient. This is great. We're making things more efficient. Well, a lot of totalitarian governments are extremely efficient. So I don't know that we want to make the government more efficient, but that's what's happening. So let's look at this right here from ABC 11. It says use of AI in the workplace in the spotlight after Elon Musk DOGE cuts. It says, Elon Musk's involvement with the federal government and expanded powers being debated, especially amid job cuts in the federal government tied to his DOGE committee. It's also shining a light on some of the AI technology involved in being used in everyday life beyond just the government. Quote, the trend is inevitable. Companies are adopting it. Governments are adopting it. You know, you're going to have state and local governments adopt this stuff. Just learn how to use it, says Neil Shah from Karyaya. Karyaya is a company based at RTP that pairs college students with elderly patients. He says they use AI technology to manage how their staff are performing. It will analyze which caregiver was reliable, on time, how the care interaction was rated by the family, and use that to discern patterns and predict future behavior, which is always not going to be 100% accurate, but you're literally doing it at 1/100th of the cost, Shah says. So here he's saying we're using this AI, it's making it more efficient. Is it perfect? No, but it makes it better. But here he says, if other countries are going to start using these tools to run their governments and their organizations more efficiently, cheaper, better, faster, then if we don't use them, then we're going to lose. And I think that's the harsh reality of new technology, Shah says. And I think this is a sentiment shared by a lot of people. And again, this is the problem. I don't necessarily want government to be more efficient, cheaper, better, faster. I don't necessarily want it to be inefficient, expensive, worse, and slow, right? But let's have a whole lot less of it. Instead of making it more efficient, let's just get rid of it, right? That's the revolution I would like to see. But instead, this is all setting the stage for, well, a more efficient government for somebody else to come in, maybe down the road, and create totalitarian government. But now that government's a whole lot more efficient and better at trampling on freedom and liberty than it would have been if these tools hadn't been integrated into it. So we're seeing, yes, this unelected bureaucracy known as the deep state is under assault. The Trump administration is trying to root that out. That's great. But what's replacing it? A new technocracy, a new form of deep state of unelected officials that are going to govern using AI. That seems to be what we're seeing take place. Let's take a look at this. This is from CFO Dive. It says, DOGE offers rich opportunity for Workday, CEO says. The software executive sees the potential for increased federal technology spending thanks to President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency. It says, enterprise software giant Workday sees a rich opportunity for its federal business when it comes to the Trump administration's government efficiency report effort based on its potential to drive technology upgrades, CEO Carl Eschenbach said Tuesday. Currently, federal agencies are working with, quote, very antiquated enterprise resource planning, human capital management, and financial software systems. If you want to drive efficiency in the government, you have to upgrade your systems, and we find that's really a rich opportunity, he said. While DOGE is expected to push for massive budget cuts across the federal government, technology spending is unlikely to be one of the affected areas, according to a report by Canalys, part of CFO Dive publisher Informa Tech Target. That's the authors of this article. It says, in fact, DOGE will likely drive an increase in government spending on technology, with artificial intelligence being a key focus, according to the report. Quote, expect the federal IT budget to continue to grow over the rest of President Trump's term, outside of any short-term spend from DOGE or the AI bill, he said. In a December post on the social media platform X, Musk said the federal government's computers and software are in such bad shape, they often cannot verify that payments are not fraud, waste, or abuse. He said, my preferred title in the new administration is volunteer IT consultant. We need to fix the IT infrastructure in order to make government work. This is a grind and hardly glorious, but we can't make government efficient and fix the deficit if computers don't work. And again, I don't argue with any of this. We need to root out misspending and corruption, inefficiency. But again, if we don't root out the fact that the power is there to begin with, this just sets government up to be even more abusive, more efficient in their abuse of their citizens, right? But they're saying here, they're basically going to, let's fire all these workers and replace them with more efficient IT systems. Let's replace them with artificial intelligence. And this company is saying, we see this as potential good thing for us. This is an opportunity for us. And we see that here as well. So this is a tweet that went out by the Long View, and they said, can someone please make the valuation for Palantir make sense? This is a publicly traded company, Palantir. It says it's trading like Snapchat in 2021, 60 times revenue. What could possibly go right to make a discounted cash flow analysis make sense? And Ed Dowd responded, well, it's a play on restructuring government with giant government contracts using technology to reduce inefficiencies and replace labor. And that's exactly right. Again, we're seeing a restructuring of government, not a shrinking of government. I'd like to see a shrinking of it. Just because people are being laid off doesn't mean it's shrinking. The power is going away. It just means they're being replaced by these AI systems. And so Palantir, we see here, has had a big run-up lately. It's come down the last couple of weeks, but it's still much higher than it was pre-election. And so what is Palantir? Palantir's largest customer is the federal government. They make software to analyze all these different processes and make them more efficient. And Palantir was founded by this man right here, Peter Thiel. So who is Peter Thiel? It says, well, Peter Thiel is an American entrepreneur, venture capitalist, and political activist. A co-founder of PayPal, the other co-founder would be Elon Musk, of Palantir Technologies and Founders Fund. He was the first outside investor in Facebook. According to Forbes, as of February 17th, Thiel's estimated net worth stood at $20.5 billion, making him the 101st richest individual in the world. And he's also a supporter of Donald Trump. Again, he has ties to Elon Musk based on they co-founded PayPal together by combining their companies 25 years ago, probably. He's also a mentor to Vivek Ramaswamy and J.D. Vance. He was, I believe, the biggest funding source of J.D. Vance's Senate campaign. He has ties to, again, Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, as well as Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, and a whole bunch of other Silicon Valley people who hold, well, transhumanist views, as we'll look at in just a moment. And he also has ties to David Sachs, who is the Trump administration's AI and crypto czar. So again, even though we've talked before about the Trump administration, and Trump has come out with an executive order saying no central bank digital currencies. That's great. I hope that's the case. I agree that we shouldn't see those, but they're still pressing forward with the implementation of artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency and integrating these things into the government. And again, Peter Thiel has a big influence, and these transhumanist ideals. If we scroll down a little bit on this Wikipedia, we can read here. It says at the 2009 Singularity Summit, he said his greatest concern is the technological singularity not arriving soon enough, right? So again, what does he mean by that? This technological singularity is basically this point where technology advances very rapidly, exponentially, and the point where that exponential curve goes vertical is what we would call the singularity. And that's the point in time when transhumanists believe, well, human beings would simply merge with advanced technology and become what they call post-human or superhumans, those who they believe are next on the monkeys to man evolutionary timeline that they believe in. And so these ideas are prevalent throughout, again, Silicon Valley, but the Trump administration, and through the halls of power all over the world and governments all over the World Economic Forum. This philosophy, these beliefs are being pushed, and they're advancing all of these technologies that I believe are laying the infrastructure and the foundation for the Antichrist reign. So this has significant implications for the end times. Again, we read in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 about the coming of the lawless one, the Antichrist, and it says he will come with counterfeit power and signs and miracles. And we see those with this transhumanist movement with things like Neuralink, where, well, the blind will see and the mute will speak. The paralyzed will once again walk. We see these ideas being pushed. For instance, Elon Musk has proposed putting all government spending on the blockchain. And the idea is, well, we'll have transparency. We'll know where every dollar the US government spends goes, because it'll be on the public blockchain. Anybody can look at that. But of course, if all government spending's moving over to that blockchain, well, what's the next logical progression? Well, how about your spending and my spending and everyone's spending? Let's get rid of this cash, because, cash, as the government has been telling us for years, that's only used by terrorists and money launderers and drug dealers. What normal people don't want to use cash. And so they'll push these digital currencies on us until we're all in that system again. That sets the stage for the mark of the beast system we read about in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17. We're seeing all these things put in place right now. So, guys, again, what's happening is definitely a revolution. Not saying that it doesn't need to happen, but what replaces it? When we look through history at revolutions that have taken place, there's very few where it's ended better than before it began. So the American Revolution is a prime example. Yes, okay, the authority of the king was overthrown. It was replaced by limited government. We had, a once in a millennia generation that came along with figures like George Washington, who rather than be king or all-time leader said, I'm going to step away from power. Do we have that type of generation today? I don't think we do. And given what we see, the signs we see in the Bible, or what the Bible tells us to look for, we know the times in which we live and how this is going to turn out. But we look back at past revolutions, like, say, in Cuba, or all sorts of people that saw an oppressive regime in Cuba and they joined Fidel Castro, and then he took over and he turned on many of the people who supported him, had them eliminated, and took over. And we see the Russian Revolution. Well, the Tsar, we hate this. People are starving. and it got overturned in the Bolshevik Revolution, and we ended up with Stalin and communism and a terrible reign that took its place. Saw the same thing in the French Revolution, where people got sick of the excesses of the nobility and they overthrew the king, and then that resulted in a reign of terror that took place. So revolutions don't always go the way we hope they would go. And again, I'm not saying Elon Musk or the Trump administration is going to create a reign of terror, but by inserting AI into government and making government more efficient rather than shrinking it, because that's the real problem. The scope of government is overreaching into the lives of the people. That needs to be eliminated. That needs to be clawed back. That's the path to more freedom and liberty, not making the government more efficient. So that just sets the stage for a totalitarian to come into power and, hey, look, I can use the AI and I can use all these other sophisticated systems to more efficiently surveil, and my political opponents have them rounded up and jailed and all these other things. And guys, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing all of these things continue to advance, even though, again, Trump has come out and said no central bank digital currencies. But he's one person in office for no longer than 4 years. But central bank digital currencies continue to advance across the globe. And again, we have Elon Musk saying we should put all of the US government spending on the blockchain. Well, you may not call it a central bank digital currency, but what are they going to use to do that? It's not a piece of paper dollar, right? You can't put that on the blockchain. It has to be something digital. So guys, we're seeing these ideas continuing to be pushed, and we see these many transhumanists entering areas of government all around the world. And that's the era they want to take us in. And they're pushing us toward the singularity. As Elon Musk said back on February 23rd, he said, we are on the event horizon of the singularity. So he's saying we're headed to that place that Peter Thiel said his biggest worry, we won't get there soon enough. And I can tell you that where that goes is toward the end of the age, because Jesus said, unless those days are shortened, no flesh will survive. And we have people that are saying, we want to speed those days up so that we can merge with technology, we can become immortal, we can have a golden age where we roll out no disease, the lame walk, the blind see, the deaf hear. All the counterfeit miracles that we read about in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that the Antichrist is going to laud, that he's going to bring to the people, and people will be deluded. They'll believe this lie that we see from the Antichrist, that you can be godlike. That's the lie the transhumanists are pushing. We talked about this numerous times. How this ties into the Tower of Babel as a prophecy. So guys, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that this is a fantastic revolution that's taking place that will end with more freedom and liberty, but I'm a bit skeptical. I think this is going to turn out differently than many of us hope. We're going to end up with a more efficient government, not necessarily the ones in power now using this efficiency against their citizens, but it sets the stage for that to happen at some point in the future, regardless of who it is. And to me, that's not a good thing. And this is all setting the stage for the Antichrist and his kingdom to be able to rule over the world with ruthless efficiency. So let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Make sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons, and God willing, I will see you on Wednesday.